Rick was born on the 19th of October 1960 to Alan and Maureen Hayman, affectionately named after the singer Ricky Nelson. Growing up in the new side of Corio, Ricky and his younger sister Christine enjoyed the freedom of empty paddocks with minimal housing. Many a day would be spent roaming the area collecting frogs and lizards. The odd bike track was made, and there were plenty of hideouts for a group of youngsters. So life as a Corio kid was as good as it gets, enjoying the freedom that has sadly gone by the wayside these days. He went to school at Corio West Primary and then Corio Technical School. A bit of a wagger in his day, he also joined the Corio Shire Ex-Servicemen's Memorial Band to avoid as many classes as possible. He much preferred to go trucking with his dad. At around 14 years of age, Rick got himself a part-time job at the Jackson's Tannery, then moved on to a local department store, Ventures. He had an extensive chest operation at 16 years old. All his ribs were broken and reset. An absolute shock to his system, he had to learn to breathe, talk, and walk again. He returned to his schooling, but he didn't stay long. He secured a 6-month apprenticeship panel beating and spray painting at Duro Street Autos. He worked alongside his dad with trucks and repairs where he could, and once he got his licence, he took the chance to do a few casual truck driving jobs around town. Rick met Roz in 1978 at a party at a friend's place. He gave her his number, and the rest, they say, is history. She should have known this was going to be the way their relationship was going to go, forever chasing him. They married in 1983 after a 3-year engagement. Roz's parents were starting to wonder if they were ever going to tie the knot. Rick wasn't too stressed about leaving his parents' place, but they had to get a plan and an income. It all came together when he decided he could build them a house on wheels. They mustered up a little bit of cash and bought a Bedford school bus. Rick fitted it out with all the mod cons they wanted for nothing. Then the adventure followed. They travelled and lived in the bus for 6 years, grabbing work here and there. In 1986, Rick was working at Bicknell's Transport in Shepparton, living in their bus at the local caravan park when the most wonderful experience in life occurred. Gemma was born. Rick cradled her in his arms and was the proudest of fathers. "She's a good one," he said, since the day she was born. In 1987, they took off to do another tour of the East Coast with Gemma a babe in arms. The same year, Rick decided to follow his dream of becoming a signwriter. He enrolled in a correspondence course while they travelled. With parenting comes responsibility, as we all know. In 1988, Rick and Roz bought a block of land at Bannockburn. They sold their bus for their deposit and started to build the home they wanted to raise their family in. Rick chose a kit home as it was the affordable option for a young family on a wage. At this point in time, he had a few driving jobs in and around Geelong, Transwest being the major contributor to his casual employment. He was working big weeks, day and night on the wharf back in those days, coming home to signwrite until early hours in the morning for his evolving client base. Eventually, he was able to give the driving away and concentrate full-time on signage. He managed to put the Transwest fleet on his resume. He was so very proud of his achievement. Like most families, life seems to pass by with a blink of an eye. So busy concentrating on earning $1 and making a good name for yourself in business. Unfortunately, Rick's father passed away at the early age of 53, leaving a big hole in his heart. He vowed to look after his mum in every way, shape and form, and that he did. Rick's mum, aka Chook, was moved into the granny flat and was able to help out around the place doing various errands, including several trips to town a week, sometimes multiple in one day, for sign supplies. Signwriting became a lonely existence, working day and night on his own in a shed. and in 1997 he asked Roz to join him on the big jobs, which soon blew out to full-time behind the scenes. All day and after meal times in the evenings on some jobs. Transwest tankers, skip bins and tippers were done overnight to keep the fleet moving. Rick found a connection with a few other signwriters who were experienced in the same deal with their sign shops. In 1998, Rick and Roz attended a letterheads meet. Signwriters from all over Australia would get together for a fun weekend at the host's sign shop, painting for fun and meeting others with the same passion for the craft. He was blown away with such talented people, always doubting his own ability. But once he returned, he had more confidence in his own work and continued on. Rick and Roz loved the idea of deciding to host their own letterheads meet in 2000. A transition was happening at this time, a move from Bannockburn to Teesdale. They decided on a fresh start. They moved house into an empty paddock of 8 acres. So much needed to be done before they could host the letterheads meet. They put up Rick's shed with the help of friends. Concrete was poured only days before they were expecting 70 signwriters to turn up. Rick had the grey Fergie up on the fresh concrete with the extension ladder tied to it with a rope and 14-year-old Gemma steering while he hung the fluoros up in the roof. OH&S approved, of course. They made it. Their new home at Teesdale grew, and so did his need to get back on the road. A career change was the order of the day. HMS Scrap Metal was born. Roz continued to signwrite at Hayman Signs for 10 years, while Rick worked carting scrap metal. He loved the job back behind the wheel, not so much for the money side of things, but he enjoyed chatting to the blokes in the bush. He had his rapport with the fellas. They would open up and chat about tough times on the land and hard life in general. He appeared to make a difference to their day. When he would return to finish off the job, he would find he had another job with the neighbour next door, who could use his services too. Many a load came through Teesdale en route to Sims Metal. Many keepsakes were offloaded in the yard, as they were far too good for scrap. He worked long and hard, building and maintaining his gear as well as carting the loads. He was always geared to go and as fit as a mallee bull. Hundreds of tons of scrap metal made the journey across the state over the years, first on the billy cart, then on the twin steer, and then finally on the S-line, affectionately known as the Scrag. The old girl never let him down. Rick purchased his 4070 Transtar, which had been something he'd always wanted to do. He decided to give it a working man's tidy-up, a lick of paint and a fix of a few bits. He worked on that old truck day and night with the goal of attending the 2006 Castlemaine Truck Show. However, he didn't make the show that year because on the morning of the show, he suffered a massive heart attack while outloading scrap. With some encouragement, the family finally got him to go the following year, and he ended up taking home a trophy for Best Classic Truck, which he was always so very proud of. Unfortunately, following his heart attack, his body couldn't tolerate the medications. His life was a roller coaster of health battles after this. So he turned his experience into a positive one. There were countless years of research looking into alternative therapies. He was an advocate for finding an answer as to why we become unwell, rather than putting a band-aid on or taking a cure-all. Always happy to pass on his knowledge to others. As the years went on, he decided to give away the heavy scrap work, leaving Billy to continue on his own, keeping HMS going. For Rick, signwriting came back into play, and he picked up the brushes again in order to earn $1. He carved himself a niche with doing old trucks with old school signage, and this is where he's been to this day. After years of health dramas, with many nerve-related issues, Rick would try to soldier on through uncontrollable spasms, trying to hold a brush and continue to scroll. Him being ever the perfectionist, he would put more scrolls in the rag than he would put on the truck. In 2012, Rick saw the arrival of grandson Archie, the little clone of Pop, always keen to learn, with his hands dirty and never a quiet moment. The prospect of one of the kids taking up the brushes was a dream Rick had. He was hoping they may show some interest so as he could pass on his craft. Curl and Billy got married in 2013. Bill was not quite sure who to look at first, Rick in a suit or Gemma in her wedding dress. All were surprised to see the flannel and jeans put away for the day. In 2015, Rick welcomed the arrival of his first granddaughter, Annabelle, with hair that stuck up in the air almost as much as his, always inquisitive and keen for a hug. In 2017, he was blessed with another granddaughter, Felicity, or Fawisawi, as he affectionately called her, loving her humour and her cheeky expression. Rick has become involved in many a classic truck show over the years. He would put his best foot forward and go along for the ride and the camaraderie. Many fun-filled trips away with the fellas would always see him return with a grin from ear to ear and countless stories to ear-bash Roz with.
Southbound again. Don't know if I'm gonna leaving home. Southbound again. Don't know if I'm gonna leave it home. Boys about keep moving. Seem like the boys by rule. So every single time, roll across rolling river time. Every single time, roll across rolling river time. Look at the same old feeling every time I'm moving down the line. Every time.
Always happy to lend a hand, he has been a go-to bloke all his life. The king of the barbie at any event, although not at home, Ross might mention. Well known around the traps for the best bacon and eggs. Likened as a MacGyver, he managed to make absolutely anything out of nothing. If he found an item that could not be replaced, he would just fabricate it. His trusty welder was the go-to when fixing this or that. Chocs always had a way of making things work. No such word as can't, he would say. Plenty of smirgaloids and gadgets created along the way. The MacGyver washing machine made its debut at Alice Springs. Rick even threw his hand in at house renos, smacking out a new kitchen for Auntie Roz. He would never hire anyone, and nothing was too hard, even though he hated plastering and house painting with a passion. One of his latest ventures was to get himself a hot rod. "I'm going to get one that I can drive. I'm sick of working on shit boxes," he said. Needless to say, the Pontiac arrived, got driven around the block, and then promptly got pulled to bits. He had to have it right, the Chocs way. No mean feat there. It took over 12 months to build and by the book. Another of his success stories. Rick and Roz have enjoyed countless runs out in Monty, zooming off to the beach as often as they could. They've managed to clock up over 7,000 kilometres doing essential supply runs, mostly to Bunnings. Rick was a great inspiration and could make the sun shine on some of the cloudiest days in regards to people's well-being. There are so many people that have expressed that Rick had an uncanny ability to make them feel so much better after just talking with him. Whether it be a phone call or text or in person, he made a difference to people's lives no matter how long they may have known him, whether it be for a lifetime or only a few hours. Always the larrikin, and up for a yarn or a chat, he would happily give the shirt off his back. It's apparent to this day that he left a lasting impression with all of those who had the pleasure of meeting him.
Last night I felt like crying. Southbound again. Last night I felt like crying. Right now I'm sick of living, but I'm gonna keep on trying. Keep on trying.
Just rolling up a new mudguard edge for me Pontiac.
Way down south.
Do it again. Show me.
Do it again. Ready? Watch this. You gonna do it? You can do it? Ready? It's a dinosaur. Let's have a look. Can you see him?
Look at
No, it's not a dinosaur. I don't think it's a dinosaur.
This will be one of the first presents he doesn't know.
Oh, there's another box. There's nothing in there again. Oh,
that was close.
what is it? What's it say on there? Don't you know? International mats. Look at that.
Aren't they special?
Look at that. How good's that? Auntie Roz driving the gadget. How good's this? Look out, we're going to crash.
Oh, look, just crashed into a magpie.
Oh no, have a look at this. She reckons she knows where she's going. You'd have to wonder, wouldn't you? Oh no.
Good morning, viewers. We're here with Outback turbo super trucker over here, the Chocs Hayman. Can you tell us what you're doing here today, Turbo?
Yeah, well, we've got a bit of trouble with the Mac,
Right.
and I think it's a Mac.
Yes. How many miles have you done in this Mac, Turbo?
Oh, a fair few.
You've done a few trailer problems, I hear, lately.
We have had a few trailer problems.
Right, yes.
Apparently you can only hook them up from one end.
Right, yes.
Yeah, because the wheels are in the way on the other end.
Okay.
And,
Now, it's got a name on... Sorry, Turbo, to interrupt you here, but it has a name on the door. I think it's McCracken's. Now,
Yeah,
does that have anything to do with the Mighty Boy here? Is it like a McCracken's Mighty...
This basically is our jump start pack.
Okay. So that comes everywhere with you, does it, in the toolbox?
We carry this everywhere.
Right.
As you can see, it's got the jump pack.
Does that travel along beside the Mac?
This is beside.
the Mac
and
Krakens?
It also has... We also keep our Coca-Cola in the back.
I see, yes.
And
So that's like a tool box.
and Hayden's actually the driver of the jump pack.
Right, so this would be Hayden.
He's been with us. He's been with us the longest.
He's the dog, obviously. He's the dog.
He's been here 4 days.
Right, yes.
He's one of our long-term employees.
So you're like a regular then, Hayden?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's one of our most experienced blokes.
Correct. Now we've got a gorgeous young lady over here.
She's actually the office lady.
Right, yes.
She's in charge of the internet connection.
Ah, good stuff. And that is the internet connection there, I take it, is
That's
it?
the internet connection there running
Yes.
up into the cabin. That's
Okay,
that's
yes.
our office.
So is this like over here stealing something, you
He's
think?
actually hooking up the fuel lines.
Ah, good, yes.
They got fuel vessels up on the top there.
So,
They're
yes.
actually fuel cells.
I see, yes. They'd
We
be
got
solar
those from
cells.
the Woomera rocket range.
They look like solar cells. Right. Well, thank you, Turbo Fonzie Outback Trucker Rick Chocs Hayman man.
And if you need any laundry detergent, we've actually got several packs available.